of both the library and the gymnasium, and more work on the core of the campus. And the third phase is, as I mentioned earlier, this is the real wish list that's way out there that may never happen, but hopefully if it's possible, is that we've developed some zones essentially for future buildings if possible. You know, these zones here along Atlantic and along Ralph Avezado areas of the building. We have a big one here which basically says that one of the discussions that came up with is there a way to develop an area for public-private partnerships on all the campuses in the future? So that in the future, there's a place that can be done. One of the things we looked at here is currently you have the Child Development Center sitting right around here. And the idea was to relocate the Child Development Center. And the Child Development Center could be located in a couple of areas. In this area, could be located directly further back over here. These are primary areas they could be looked at. So it could be relocated. And then to end up with a swash of land that could be used for some kind of public-private partnership development in the future.
That's exactly what I was talking about in the Engaged Campus book.
Yeah. And so that's just, again, a possibility that could exist. This could be anything from, people have talked about student housing, people have talked about just housing developers, people have talked about different things that could happen there, but this is a possibility that could happen in that quadrant. Yes.
If you do that, where are people going to park?
Oh, there's ample parking here. Because you've got all this parking here. You now have the opportunity to develop all parking in here, in here, in here. You've got lots of land on this campus to pick up additional parking that is lost. That's one thing that you have here is that you've got lots of property. You know, that's one advantage this campus has. It's a very large campus. If you look at, for example, you're currently in the front, you have a small little parking lot in the front there, and you've got like a mile of grass out there, and you could take half of that away and still have a very green exterior that's very lush, and you could triple this amount of parking, quadruple amount of parking you have out there.
That should be in the plan, though.
Actually, it is to do that. Right. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I could imagine that area, the big rectangle there. Couldn't it be built in layers so there could be parking layers on it?
Oh, it's totally wide open. It could be a parking garage and you build something on top of it. You know, we have
retail on the bottom, housing, and then parking or something.
Could be any of those things. We just leave it as a swatch of land that could be for whatever may become available at that time. Someone had to put back in?
Yes, I'm a student at the campus, and I was one of the first to do central receiving area.
Receiving area. Oh yeah.
Oh,
shipping warehouse.
The new one? We haven't done a new one.
Well, the reason I'm saying is because the area that I have right now is pretty small, so when we understand that area.
Oh, for the boiler room.
Yeah, right now, what we are aware that the area that you have is small. So there's a project that is being developed to be able to have a new loading dock and parking area. So the Department of General Services is working on that. That is a small little project compared to the grand scheme of master planning. But Connie Willis drew our attention to that, so we are working on it.
I forgot about that. There is a project ongoing for that. Yes. And I think, and then of course, as I mentioned before, these potential for these other buildings here to occur. And that's the end of the presentation. The goal at the end of it is to have successful students at the end of the day. That's really what we want to do. So, do you have any additional questions at all about any portion of the plan? Any ideas that we have here?
I just have a question, probably for Sadiq and George, and that is that I know a lot of my biology instructors and people in my department couldn't attend this at all because of the time that it is, and I think that's true for a lot of instructors.
Well, in fact, Jeff can tell you about that. Why don't you talk about, we just talked about Jeff.
Yeah, well, this is going to be, in fact, I just mentioned Paul, we have the first two, I think, on already. This will be on YouTube by certainly next week. Okay, so it's real easy, youtube.com/RaltaTV.
You'll see all the videos there, and
the first one, District Office, is already up. They're cutting up the one right now. We'll get this one up probably later this afternoon, tomorrow. Then with the holiday break, but Tuesday, Wednesday.
Excellent.
So,
and please
YouTube
broadcast that very well.
Right. YouTube.com/RaltaTV.
And they'll be in small 10-minute segments. So.
Is there a time, I know that a lot of this is just projections and wish lists and so on, but is there a timeline for whatever has been established as a priority? I mean,
Yes.
so that faculty and people who are stakeholders will know at what point. That's it?
Yeah, this is the first phase is right here. And this is the timeline, is as I mentioned earlier, the first 5 years, the first 5 years, that's pretty well set. These are projects that are in the pipeline, that are funded, that are going to move forward. So the ones what you see here on this first slide are projects you can count on happening.
This 15-year plan is also predicated on the board deciding to go off for another bond issue. We don't have enough money to do all the things that we've talked about in the moving the diesel and all that. So the board's going to have to consider going off for another bond measure to get and facilitate some of these plans that have
But
been
the
presented.
current Measure A bond will be sufficient to be able to work on building C&D, the roadway that is connecting that, and be able to get the building A under renovation done.
So the faculty has already been giving you input to the C&D building and getting
No,
involved.
they haven't given, we have a committee that will be working with Cindy.
Oh, so you're just beginning that process of getting
That is
faculty.
correct. That is why we have 2009 to 14, with which to have all that meeting, do the drawing, build it out, and get occupancy within that time period.
There'll be about 12 to 14 people on the committee, faculty, administrators, people that are already in C&D that have some knowledge of it. We already talked about the lingo is going to be on there. So there'll be about 14 people that will be working with the architect and Sadiq and myself to plan C&D.
Yeah. All right, any other questions? Yes, sir.
When will demolition of C&D begin?
As soon as possible.
They'll say fire in the hole 3 times and then get out. Well, I want to thank Leo and Bas. We were aware of some of this because we've been meeting, and I saw Patricia here and some of the others when he was talking, and Jana was here as well. So there was some participation. It wasn't just administrators that were coming up with these ideas. And so we'll put it on YouTube and we'll keep moving. It's exciting. Some of us may be here, some of us may not be here by the time this thing actually comes to fruition. But we're happy about what we've seen. We're excited about it, and obviously we want to thank both Mas and WLC for making this presentation. And Steve, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. The end. That's a wrap.
Thank you.